Alright, so I'll first start with who should watch this video. The first thing is that you should already be quite familiar with Dialogflow ES and how it works. And if you're not, I suggest first spending some time learning about Dialogflow ES. And the second thing is you should be interested in using Dialogflow CX, of course, but also you should be willing to build a custom integration for the specific channel, like such as website or voice bot or whatever you're trying to do. You should be willing to build a custom integration for the specific channel that you're going to be using for your chatbot. Okay, so only if these things are true, it would be useful for you to watch this video. I think that's in my view. So the thing first, I'll start by talking about the 5 ways. Actually, there are more than 5 ways, but I'm just going to quickly go over 5 ways where Dialogflow CX is actually better than Dialogflow ES. Okay, so the first one is that I have this picture, and of course I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can. So this represents the good state in your conversation flow. Okay, so this is sort of like a state machine, and you can imagine that all the other distracting pieces of the state machine are not in focus. We are only talking about a very specific, you can think of it as a zoomed in view. But the thing is, if you are already in a good state in the conversation and the conversation goes off track, it is a bit like a self loop in a state machine. And what that means is that if in a state machine, if you don't change state, you are still back in the old state. And if you are already in a good state, that means it is very easy for you to handle whatever the customer says next. And this is especially if you contrast it with how input and output contexts work in Dialogflow ES, because there you have to use explicit context to handle the state. You know that this actually provides a pretty big benefit, and it actually makes it much simpler to design your conversation flow. The second thing is that the retry handling in slot filling is much better in Dialogflow CX, and this is mainly because they have this concept of sys.nomatch1, nomatch2, nomatch3, like that. So sys.nomatchn handlers in Dialogflow CX, and the big boost that you get from using these handlers is that unlike Dialogflow ES slot filling, which was sort of like an all or nothing proposition, here you will be able to get more fine-grained control over what happens when after the first reprompt and the second reprompt and the third reprompt and so on. So that is something that is possible in Dialogflow CX, and as a result, slot filling in Dialogflow CX is actually pretty good. In fact, people who have been following my material know that I recommend people not to use slot filling in Dialogflow ES, because there it's either, like I said, it's an all or nothing kind of situation where the bot, if it finishes the conversation, it looks really good, but when it fails really bad. And the third thing is that because they have this new concept of session parameters, it makes it much easier to keep track of user input. The concept of session parameters does not have any equivalent in Dialogflow ES, and I think that it's a very welcome improvement, and mainly because whenever the user provides an input, it immediately gets recorded into the session parameters, and you can use it from any other point in the conversation flow. And the fourth one is, I think, a big deal. CX allows you to add more logic in your chatbot without creating a webhook. Okay, so this means that even if you are not a programmer, you can still do a lot of things inside Dialogflow CX. Now I will just add a little bit of a condition here, because when I started the video I did mention you need a custom integration to be able to build the Dialogflow CX chatbot as of today. Okay, and in the case you need a custom integration, you are probably going to have to hire the programmer anyway. But even then, you can do a lot of the conversation logic inside the CX console and hand off only the webhook logic to the programmer. And the benefit of that is that you get a very good picture of what is going on in your bot, and then there's just some logic, some business logic which needs to be done outside of the CX console, and that is actually, you can just hand it off to the programmer, which means that that's a really good separation, or you can think of it as a really good division of the labor. Okay, now I'll just give an example of what I mean. In my course, I actually I sort of convert a bot I implemented in Dialogflow ES, which was a quiz bot. I converted it into a CX bot. And as a part of it, what I had to do was I had to create a transition route where when the user says something here, which is where I have this based on what the user says, this is an intent. You can add a condition which is based on the value of a session parameter. Okay, so here I'm able to invoke the value of the session parameter and check to see if it is a specific number. So this is a condition trigger, and then I can display a message to the user if that condition is satisfied, and then also update the value of the session parameter right in that flow. Okay, and after all that is done, you can actually finally transition to a new state. This is where I change to a transition to a different page, and you know that page and state are equivalent in Dialogflow CX, of course. So one of the things that I'm mentioning in this article is also that even though the number of NLU powered bot frameworks today there are a lot of them, so it's become, I would say, too big to survey. Like, you can't like go and take a look at every one of them and compare to see which one is better. I'll be really surprised if there is any other chatbot framework which provides this level of flexibility when it comes to developing your bot. Now, as I say that, I'll just add one more little thing. I know that there are people who are building these chatbot builders which are very complex and which are based on the something similar, state machines and all that. The difference in CX versus the bot builders the other companies are creating is that you have to understand that the CX at the end of the day is also an API. That is, Dialogflow CX provides an API which allows you to manipulate each and every part of Dialogflow CX through code if you want, right? So just like you created this complex state transition, which is based on number one, what the user says, number two, something which is like a session parameter value, and then it displays a message and then updates the value of the parameter, does a transition. All these things you can actually programmatically define it, which because CX also gives you an API which allows you to do that, right? So in other words, you have these building blocks and these primitives which are available in the Dialogflow CX bot framework, which, if you think about it, that's usually what the other bot builders do. What they really do, they give you the final solution, the end user facing solution. I guess that is really good for some use cases, but if you have full programmatic access to every part of the system, like what you do in Dialogflow CX, that just means that you are able to build these bots with a lot more flexibility. So that's what I mean when I say that I'd be very surprised if there is another bot framework which provides as much flexibility when it comes to developing your chatbot. And I think that this is I think that, so I may be wrong, of course, but I have a feeling that this means Dialogflow CX is probably the gold standard right now when it comes to developing complex machine learning powered conversation flows. I won't say that it's necessary for more trivial chatbots, but when it starts getting more complex, I think that CX can be a very good tool in those situations. Okay, and the fifth one is that I'm going to group these two into somewhat like one point, which is that webhook development has become much easier. One of the reasons is that the timeout for the webhook is you can actually set it. You can decide how much the timeout should be. So in case you have a long running code in the backend, you can still invoke that in your webhook call, and the webhook will not time out until that number of seconds elapse. Okay, and also because you have the concept of multiple webhooks in CX, where you can attach different webhooks to different intents, and in this case you shouldn't say intents, it's more like different webhooks can be attached to different flows. Okay, it is actually possible to not flows, sorry, different webhooks to different pages. It is actually possible to have a much more fine-grained development of webhooks in Dialogflow CX, and it has a lot of benefits when you do it like that. All right, so those are the advantages of CX and where it's improved over Dialogflow ES. Then the question will be like, okay, should I get started with Dialogflow CX right away? And my view is that you can get started, but I think that it's going to be a while before everything works smoothly, because I've already noticed that CX can be a little buggy in some places. So I have an example of this. I've created a video where I show an example of where deleting webhooks doesn't work as expected in Dialogflow CX right now. Okay, so this is right now it's January, sort of mid-January 2021. Okay, so at this point it's not working as expected. And another issue is that the quality of the integrations is not quite at the same level as what you have in ES. I actually have an article about this where I talk about the Dialogflow Messenger integration for CX, and unfortunately it's got a few things which have to be it's not quite as polished as what you already get in Dialogflow ES. So you don't even have these chat prompts and things like that, and you don't have, in fact, there is no history of conversations also. So it's not that simple, but this is why I mentioned that if you should build a custom integration, because if you are building a custom integration, then you can just log the request and response pairs, and that automatically gives you a history of what is happening in your bot, right? And so with that in all considered, if you're building a fairly complex conversation, yes, you should at least consider using Dialogflow CX. Okay, so that's the other thing. Now, just because Dialogflow CX is available, by the way, it was made generally available. It moved out of beta to become generally available a few weeks back, which means that certainly the Dialogflow CX team at least thinks that it is ready for use. Just to be clear, I'm not affiliated in any way with Dialogflow or Google. So I'm just giving this perspective as somebody from the outside. But if they are feeling that it's ready to be released, I think that it also means that most of these things are working reasonably well, and it's fairly solid. Is what I at least I hope that that's the reason that they released it and made it generally available. Okay, so coming to the next question. If CX is, let's suppose that it's actually pretty good and it's available to be used, does it mean that you should use Dialogflow CX for your bot? So here I think that the answer is very much nuanced, because there are cases where you should definitely use Dialogflow CX. For one, if you are sure that what you're building is a slot filling bot, then I think that you should just ignore ES altogether and go directly to Dialogflow CX, because Dialogflow CX is so superior when it comes to building slot filling bots that I think there is no comparison. Okay, but a lot of people think that what they are building is a slot filling bot, even though it is not. That is, in my view, the bar for what qualifies as a slot filling bot is actually pretty high. And you can take a look at this article I have here. I'll also leave links in the video below the video. But the point is that there are a few things which have to be satisfied for a bot to be considered a real slot filling bot. And if it is a actual slot filling bot, then yes, you should just go for CX. And the other situation is that if you're building voice bots or telephony bots or things like that, I think that you should just skip ES and go directly to CX, because in my view, the tooling and the support and the rollout and all the things associated with getting a bot ready and available for the public, I think that the entire process, the flow for ES is actually pretty poor, including I have to say that Google's support on this matter is not that great either. So CX is probably better suited for those kind of bots. Okay, now having said that, I think that there are some situations when you have to definitely avoid Dialogflow CX. Okay, the first one is when you are creating what I call as a one and done FAQ chatbot. And when you're creating a one and done FAQ chatbot, what you're doing is you're letting users ask questions, you're giving some answers, and then there are no follow-up. You don't expect the user to ask follow-up questions. They just move on to the next question. Okay, so which is a very pure and plain type of FAQ bot. And if that's the kind of bot that you're creating, then CX actually gives you no benefit, and I would actually say it makes the overall bot development more complex. And a way to test it, and I'm actually going to do shameless self promotion here. I have a bot generator app called BotFlow. Okay, I've created a bot generator app called BotFlow, where you can just type out all the information about your FAQ bot, all the intent information into a spreadsheet. You can export it to a CSV format, and then you can just use my app to generate the entire agent zip file for Dialogflow ES. Okay, so it is a paid app, so I'll point that out, and it actually allows you to do all kinds of fairly complicated bots can be generated using my tool at this point. You can even have like rich responses. You can create like a FAQ chatbot for Dialogflow Messenger. Now the important thing is that these bots shouldn't have complex conversation flows. They should literally be the so-called one and done large FAQ chatbots. If you have only a few intents, you don't need a tool. You can just go into Dialogflow and you can just type out all the intents. But if you have, let's say, hundreds of training phrases or hundreds of intents, yeah, for sure you need a tool to manage that, and you will find that at that point BotFlow is useful for you. So this is another way of saying that even if you are not going to actually use BotFlow, if you feel that your bot will benefit from an app like BotFlow, then it's probably not a good idea to use Dialogflow CX for a bot like that. Okay, that's the one thing. And the other type of bot where you don't need Dialogflow CX, almost sure, certainly, is where the entire flowchart of your bot, you can just visualize it in your head. It is so simple that you can just visualize the whole flow in your head. Then I don't think that there's too much benefit to using Dialogflow CX, because if you can visualize it in your head, you can just create it using follow-up intents, or maybe you can create your own input and output context, and you can combine all that to create the chatbot flowchart that you want. Okay, so then there is the middle, right? There's like the case where you definitely have to use, and then there's the case where you definitely should not use. But then there's also some bots which are in the middle, where you can see that if the flow is fairly complex, you are probably going to use CX for such a bot. But I also think that the actual answer is subjective. Now you have to remember one thing: the Dialogflow CX pricing is, I'll say it's more expensive and also very different from ES. For example, a Dialogflow ES, if you don't have a high throughput of call requests, okay, you can actually create a fairly, a bot with a lot of users, but for which you can just be on the free tier entirely and you don't have to pay any money at all. It's actually possible to create a completely free Dialogflow ES bot based on the usage. In the case of CX, that's not true. CX, you have to pay about 20 cents per conversation, not per message, but per conversation. And this means that you have to, if you factor in the fact that CX bots, you will be paying some money for the CX bot for sure, then there is also a case to make that if possible, you want to go for ES first, and then you want to go for the CX bot. So when you are doing that, assuming that you will follow that suggestion, when you do that, what I will also say is you want to use the flowchart system that I describe in my flowchart to chatbot course. So I'll just I have this flowchart to chatbot course, and what that will allow you to do is create a chatbot flowchart using the mind mapping tool called Mindomo. Okay, and once you create that flowchart in that in that flowchart tool, the first thing you can do is you can convert it to an ES bot fairly easily. And then if you find that the flowchart is starting to get really complicated, that would be a good point, that would be a good time for you to transition it to the Dialogflow CX. When you do that, what you have done is you also de-risked the bot development, because you have managed to build the bot at a very low cost, and then you also hopefully had some users use it, and you see how people are interacting. You collect a lot of training phrases you can use and all that, and by the time you are moving it to Dialogflow CX, you already have a fairly good idea of how people are using your bot, which actually will also make it easy for you to create your Dialogflow CX bot. Okay, so now finally I just want to talk about the Dialogflow CX course that I have created called Learn Dialogflow CX. And this course actually covers a lot of ground in Dialogflow CX. It's not, I would not call it exhaustive, but I think that when it comes to the basics, it's actually pretty exhaustive. So there is the first few lessons which talk about the state machine, and then I give an example of how you can start building a bot in ES and then migrate it over to CX. Then I talk about using a flowchart and adding test cases into your Dialogflow CX bot. And in case you did not know, Dialogflow CX allows you to actually create tests, and it's all right within the CX console itself. Okay, and then I talk about entities and parameters, and then basics of CX webhooks, and I use Python as the programming language. And then I actually have a fairly comprehensive tutorial on Dialogflow CX slot filling. And when you go through this, you will actually understand why I say that CX is so much better when it comes to slot filling compared to ES. And then at the moment, the final chapter is going to be where I talk about conditional routes, and I use function expressions for these routes. And the course itself is going to be, I'll keep improving this course, and I'll keep adding more material into this course over the next few weeks. So if you buy it now, you will be able to get it. You will get all the future material included in the course automatically. And also, till the end of January, you will get a 20% off discount if you were to use this link. So that's my summary review of Dialogflow CX versus Dialogflow ES, and I'll also leave some of these links. I'll leave links to all the resources that I mentioned under the video.